the mind thinks it rules. But what if the greatest transformation happens not in thought, but in feeling? For centuries, Western philosophy placed reason at consciousness's summit. Descartes declared, "I think, therefore I am." The Enlightenment enthroned rationality as humanity's defining feature. But ancient wisdom traditions knew differently. And now, science confirms what mystics always understood: the heart is not merely a pump. It is an organ of perception, a center of intelligence that may surpass the mind itself. René Descartes' dualism severed mind from body, creating Western thought's foundational split. The mind became identified with self, consciousness, truth. The body, including the heart, was reduced to mere mechanism. This Cartesian error, as neuroscientist Antonio Damasio termed it, haunts us still. We attempt transformation through thought alone, as if changing mental patterns could reshape existence. The philosopher Baruch Spinoza challenged this immediately. In his Ethics, he argued that mind and body are not separate substances but parallel expressions of one reality. The body cannot determine the mind to think, he wrote, nor the mind the body to motion or rest. They move together, inseparable. Yet Western culture ignored Spinoza's wisdom for centuries, privileging rational control over somatic intelligence. This fragmentation created what phenomenologist Maurice Merleau-Ponty called the lived body problem: our felt, embodied experience versus our abstract self-conception. We became, in Heidegger's terms, beings cut off from being itself, existing in our heads, disconnected from the holistic organism we actually are. The Buddhist concept of sati, often translated as mindfulness, originally meant remembering. Remembering what? Remembering the whole. Returning awareness to the complete organism: breath, heartbeat, sensation, emotion. Transformation attempted solely through thought is like trying to steer a ship by repainting the captain's quarters. You're addressing the wrong level of reality. Here science offers striking validation. The heart's electromagnetic field extends 5,000 times farther than the brain's, measurable several feet beyond the body. Research at the HeartMath Institute reveals the heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. The heart possesses its own neural network, approximately 40,000 neurons, a heart-brain capable of learning, remembering, and deciding independently. This isn't metaphor. The heart literally perceives and processes reality. Ancient traditions knew this intuitively. In Sanskrit, the heart center is anahata, the unstruck sound, the cosmic vibration. In Sufism, Kalb, the heart, is the seat of spiritual knowledge. The Chinese Xian means both heart and mind inseparably. They recognized what Western philosophy forgot: consciousness isn't localized in the skull. It's distributed throughout the organism, with the heart as central coordinator. The contemporary self-help paradigm fetishizes positive thinking as if consciousness transformation were merely cognitive reframing. This misunderstands transformation's actual mechanics. Thoughts without corresponding feeling states create what psychologist Carl Rogers called incongruence, a split between cognitive content and emotional reality. You can repeat affirmations endlessly, but if your somatic emotional state contradicts them, you're simply creating internal conflict. The heart knows the truth the mind tries to obscure. Stoic philosophy, often misunderstood as emotional suppression, actually taught emotional alchemy. Epictetus didn't say don't feel, he said understand what you feel and why. Transform emotion through comprehension, not repression. Spinoza argued that emotions aren't irrational forces to be controlled, but themselves contain intelligence. An emotion ceases to be a passion, he wrote, as soon as we form a clear and distinct idea of it. Why do traumas mark us so indelibly? Because they're encoded somatically, through intense emotion felt in the body. A childhood wound, rejection, humiliation, abandonment, persists not as mere memory but as embodied pattern. The body remembers, as trauma specialist Bessel van der Kolk documented extensively. Cognitive reframing alone cannot touch these somatic inscriptions. You must engage the emotional physiological level where they're stored. Psychologist Eugene Gendlin developed focusing, attending to the felt sense of experience, the body's preverbal knowing. Change happens not through thinking differently about emotion, but through feeling it fully, allowing it to unfold and transform. This aligns with Jung's concept of holding the tension of opposites, not resolving contradictions mentally, but bearing them emotionally until synthesis emerges organically. Consider gratitude, frequently prescribed as mental practice, listing things one should appreciate. But authentic gratitude isn't cognitive inventory. It's a state of being, a felt resonance with existence's gift character. Philosopher Martin Heidegger distinguished calculative thinking from meditative thinking. Calculative thinking measures, compares, evaluates. Meditative thinking simply receives, allows, opens. True gratitude is meditative, not comparing your life to worse scenarios, but feeling present abundance directly. The Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, visualizing loss, wasn't pessimism. It was training to feel what you have while you have it, shifting from abstract appreciation to embodied presence. When you drop into the heart, feeling breath, sensation, aliveness itself, gratitude arises not as thought but as recognition of the miracle already present. Gregory Bateson, anthropologist and systems theorist, argued that the unit of survival isn't the individual organism but organism plus environment, an integrated whole. Consciousness, in this view, isn't contained within individual boundaries but distributed across systems. Mind isn't in the head, it's in the patterns of interaction between organism and world. This resonates with Buddhist pratitya samutpada, dependent co-arising. Nothing exists independently. Everything arises through relationship, including consciousness itself. Applied personally, you are not just your brain. You are the entire organism, cardiovascular system, enteric nervous system, endocrine system, all in constant communication. Ignoring this interdependence while attempting transformation is like trying to heal a forest by treating individual trees. The system requires systemic intervention. Philosophers Francisco Varela, Evan Thompson, and Eleanor Roche developed embodied cognition, demonstrating that thinking itself is bodily. Understanding isn't abstract computation in a brain computer. It's sensoromotor engagement with the world. Concepts emerge from bodily metaphors. We grasp ideas, digest information, feel uplifted or down. This validates phenomenology's central insight: consciousness is always embodied consciousness. There is no pure mind observing neutral world. There is lived experience, where perceiver and perceived co-create each other. Merleau-Ponty, the body is not an object. It is my way of being in the world, my way of perceiving the world. Transformation, then, isn't mental revision. It's reshaping your fundamental way of being in the world, which necessarily involves the whole organism. Ancient Greek philosophy understood eudaimonia, flourishing, as holistic. Not just virtue or wisdom, but physical health, social connection, proper nutrition, harmonious living. Modern separation of mind from body creates the absurdity of seeking consciousness expansion while neglecting physiological foundations. Sleep deprivation, poor nutrition, sedentary lifestyle, chronic stress, these don't just affect the body. They fundamentally alter consciousness itself. You cannot meditate yourself out of metabolic dysregulation. You cannot affirm yourself out of inflammation. Spinoza again, no one has yet determined what the body can do. The body's capacity for transformation, when properly supported, exceeds what mentalist approaches ever access. Prioritizing physical health isn't abandoning spiritual work. It's recognizing that spirit and matter aren't separate. The distinction itself is the illusion. Krishnamurti taught that the observer is the observed. When you watch a thought without separation, the watching itself transforms it. This isn't suppression or redirection. It's allowing thoughts to arise while maintaining awareness at a deeper level, the level of felt presence. Viktor Frankl's space between stimulus and response exists not in the mind but in the heart-centered pause before reaction. That space is somatic, not cognitive. Where programmed thought arises, I'm inadequate, life is suffering, I'll never succeed, the practice isn't immediately replacing it with opposite affirmation. The practice is dropping attention from thought to feeling. What does the body actually feel right now? Breath moving. Heart beating. Sensation of feet on ground. This isn't denial. It's recognizing that thoughts are surface phenomena. Beneath them lies a deeper awareness that doesn't need thoughts to be true or false. Jung wrote, "What you resist persists." Fighting against negative thoughts strengthens them through the very attention you give. The Taoist principle of Wu Wei, effortless action, applies here. Not forcing change, but allowing transformation through non-resistance. This creates paradox. You accept current state fully, yet that acceptance itself enables change. Fighting yourself maintains the prison. Accepting yourself opens the door. Gestalt therapy founder Fritz Perls expressed this as the paradoxical theory of change. Change occurs when one becomes what they are, not when they try to become what they are not. When sadness arises, the practice isn't declaring "I must think positively." It's sadness is present. This too shall pass. What does sadness feel like, exactly? Where is it in the body? Attending to emotion somatically, without story, allows it to metabolize and transform organically. Emotions aren't obstacles to transcend. They're portals to deeper understanding. The Stoics distinguished between automatic emotional reactions, path, and considered responses. They didn't seek emotional numbness, but emotional wisdom. Buddhist practice similarly doesn't eliminate emotion but transforms relationship to it. In Tibetan Tonglen practice, practitioners breathe in suffering and breathe out compassion, radically accepting rather than rejecting difficult emotions. Difficult experiences often catalyze greatest growth. The psychologist James Hillman argued that pathologizing, descending into difficulty, is necessary for soul-making. Jung's individuation requires confronting shadow, integrating rejected parts. This isn't comfortable. It's necessary. When you resist sadness, grief, anger, you're resisting teachers. When you accept them, investigate them, feel them fully, they transform from enemies to guides. The Hermetic principle as above, so below applies as within, so without. External reality reflects internal state. Not through magical thinking, but through perception, behavior, and resonance. Your inner state determines what you notice, how you interpret events, how you respond, what opportunities you recognize. The Stoic Epictetus, it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. This isn't blaming victims. It's recognizing the one thing always within your control, your response, your state. Carl Rogers' organismic valuing process suggests that when you're congruent, aligned in thought, feeling, and action, you naturally move toward growth. The shift from mind-only to whole organism awareness isn't about achieving constant positivity. It's about deepening authenticity, allowing internal and external to harmonize. Heraclitus taught Pantarei, everything flows. Change is the only constant. Yet true transformation is an instant. You spent years, perhaps decades, reinforcing certain patterns. Neural pathways carved deep through repetition. Somatic patterns encoded through lived experience. Expecting rapid reversal is setting yourself up for frustration. The Buddhist concept of right effort acknowledges that transformation requires sustained practice without force. The Taoist farmer doesn't pull on shoots to make them grow faster. They prepare soil, provide water, remove weeds, and trust the organic process. Similarly, consciousness expansion isn't forcing yourself to feel differently. It's creating conditions where natural transformation can occur: rest, nourishment, presence, patience, compassion toward yourself. Kristin Neff's research on self-compassion reveals a paradox. Those who are kind to themselves in difficulty actually grow more than those who self-criticize. Self-criticism activates threat response, amygdala fires, cortisol rises, thinking narrows. Self-compassion activates care system, oxytocin releases, parasympathetic engages, perspective broadens. The harsh inner voice demanding you think positively or stay grateful is itself the problem. It's internal violence masquerading as growth. True transformation emerges from acceptance, not force. From compassion, not criticism. From allowing, not controlling. As Rumi wrote, the wound is where the light enters. Your struggles aren't obstacles to transformation. They're its very material. We've journeyed from Descartes' error through science's validation of heart intelligence, from emotions' wisdom through embodied presence, arriving at integrated understanding. Consciousness transformation isn't mental reprogramming. It's whole organism shift: thinking, feeling, sensing, being working as one. The heart doesn't replace the mind. They dance together, neither dominating. The body isn't vehicle for consciousness. It is consciousness manifested. Spinoza's vision finally realized, mind and body as parallel expressions of single substance, neither controlling the other, both essential. Begin not with forced positivity but with honest presence. Notice when you're caught in thought. Drop attention to heart center. Feel breath. Feel sensation. This is the return. When difficult emotions arise, resist the urge to fix, change, or transcend them immediately. Feel them. Where are they in your body? What's their texture, temperature, movement? Cultivate gratitude not as list-making but as state of openness. Sit in nature. Feel sunlight. Listen to wind. Let thankfulness arise organically, not mandated. Practice patience with yourself. Some days you'll forget everything. Some weeks you'll feel regressed. This is the path's nature. Transformation isn't linear. As the Buddha taught, be a light unto yourself. The wisdom you seek isn't in techniques or teachings. It's in your own embodied presence, waiting to be remembered. Philosophy spent centuries in the mind's narrow corridor. But the door stands open to consciousness's full mansion. Your heart already knows what your mind struggles to understand. Your body already holds the wisdom your thoughts seek. The invitation isn't to abandon thinking, but to recognize it as one instrument in the orchestra, not the conductor. Drop into the heart. Feel the electromagnetic field extending beyond your skin. Recognize yourself not as isolated consciousness trapped in flesh, but as open system in dynamic exchange with all existence. This isn't mysticism divorced from reason. It's reason reunited with its foundation in lived experience. The transformation you seek doesn't happen in the future through accumulated effort. It's available now, in the simple yet profound act of returning to the whole. From fragmentation to integration. From thought alone to embodied wisdom. From striving to being. The heart has always known the way home.